Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in for another video. For this video I'm doing a painting of a spirit, and this spirit has nature and water mana, so it's a little bit abstract and just kind of fun to play around with shapes. And as always, you can check out our website with the link down below to see more about the video game me and my husband are making. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Okay, so for this piece I have a color scheme already established. I picked out the colors ahead of time and created a little palette. Procreate has a section where you can select your colors and make a palette so that you can just pick from those colors throughout the painting. And the color scheme was an analogous color scheme, so I picked kind of blues and greens and kind of purples to go together. And I just start off with no sketch, just the painting, so I do a rough painting of the background. This is going to be in a forest setting, and since this is a spirit, I'm just playing around with different types of flowing shapes, seeing what looks interesting. So what's good about these types of paintings is there's not really a right or wrong. Not like you're drawing a person where you have to be really careful about proportions and anatomy and perspective. Perspective is always important, of course, but for something like this, it's definitely a lot more forgiving. So I'm painting in the shapes and then blending it with the square brush that I like to use for pretty much most of my painting and rendering. So at this point I have the overall shape established, and I'm going to go in and add some of the color of the background, included it in the shapes of the spirit. Since this is made of water, it also has some nature, energy, magic, mana, whatever you want to call it, but we're going to add the green later. So I'm starting off with the more watery parts. And the way water works is the light shines through and reflects on the opposite side of where the light is coming from. So I'm kind of envisioning it as coming from top down, and even though there's light also coming from within, it's kind of, like I said, more forgiving. You can kind of play around where the lighting comes from. So I'm doing the selection tool and then putting in the brighter parts of the color on the more bottom half of the shapes, and then some reflections along the top, and then I'm including the background darker colors in there as well. This also helps to make it look a little bit more see-through. And when I do the selection tool, I paint in the colors with a soft brush, and that's set to pressure sensitivity so that I can do a lower opacity so that you see the different shapes showing through. That's kind of the fun thing with water, is you can do different overlapping shapes like that. Now I'm drawing in some kind of loosely leaf-like shapes for the nature mana energy. And liquify tool to see how it fits best together. And now I'm kind of cleaning up the edges. I like to have some really sharp edges when it's a lot of soft edges throughout the piece. I like to balance it with some sharp, and then adding some highlights for the water. And the highlights, I think, are what makes it more convincing as some type of watery creature. Right now it's looking a lot like a plant, so we decided it'd be best to add some eyes, which definitely makes it feel more like a creature spirit. So I play around with different ways to make the eyes look like they fit in the shape within the spirit. And then I go in with overlay layer to darken some of the colors in the water. And I believe this is an overlay layer. It looks like it's an add layer with the green glow, so I can add some of the green from the nature mana reflecting on the water. It's reflecting and shining through, so you can see it's showing up on the other side of the shapes, as well as the side closest to the nature mana. And I kind of start all over a couple times with the eyes. Now I'm just doing some fine-tune rendering, and I like to flip the painting back and forth so I can see if it looks balanced. So going in with another add layer, just trying to make the different colors pop, and seeing what layer mode works best for that blue glow in the background. I believe I just kept it at a normal mode with a bright blue color. So the original color palette I start off with is usually just a base, and then I kind of amp up the colors later on, either with the curves mode or with overlay and add layers, especially when there's glowy magic involved. Now I am just cleaning up the background. I like the background to be as simple as I can get away with, especially when we're trying to put the emphasis on the character. Sometimes when the character is best described with the background, then I have to leave more space for the background and render that out more, but for something like this, a simple nature background works. Then I'm adding some glowing dots, and again messing around with the curves layer. I like to merge all of the painting together, and the way I do this is with the copy canvas. You can go to the settings bar, that little wrench icon on the top left, and go copy canvas and then paste, and then you can adjust the curves from the whole painting without having to actually merge everything together. And then sometimes I like to paint over the whole thing, but I think I realized that I left out the nature mana at some point, so I went back and redid the nature background and then did the whole copy canvas thing again and adjusted the curves. And that's it for this painting. Thank you guys for watching.